Hello, I'm Dr. Megan Downing, and I teach in organizational leadership in the College of Arts and Sciences and also in the Honors College. And in this video, I'll review some basic guidelines for effective professional written communication in the academic environment. One area widely used in education is the online discussion forum because it provides an environment for rich and engaging asynchronous discussion. You have ample time to research and respond to the discussion prompt and to engage thoughtfully with your classmates. Be sure to fully review the discussion guidelines and discussion prompt carefully and ensure that you respond fully and completely to both the instructor's prompt as well as to your classmates. It's a great idea to compose your response offline in your favorite word processor, a program like Microsoft Word, for example. Doing so not only gives you a backup copy of your post, which is very useful in case you encounter technical glitches when making your actual post, but it also allows you to use the spell check and grammar checking tools that are part of the word processing program. As you engage with your peers, you want to keep netiquette in mind. Now, what is netiquette? Internet etiquette, essentially good manners for the online environment. For example, no shouting, which is writing in all caps. No attempted sarcasm or humor, because it's too easily misunderstood when there's no body language or tone of voice conveyed in the conversation. Keep in mind that if you wouldn't be comfortable saying something in an in-person conversation, then you shouldn't say it in an email discussion or a text. Be respectful of others' opinions and points of view. Listen thoughtfully. Engage in civil conversation. We can learn a lot from hearing others' perspective and engaging in that thoughtful civil conversation. Be cautious never to respond in anger or with undue criticism. Use the THINK acronym to remind you that if your comment is hurtful and doesn't add to the conversation, perhaps you should keep those thoughts to yourself. In addition to being considerate when communicating with your classmates, it's also important to be professional when communicating with your professors. One common mistake students sometimes make is they'll be concerned that they're going to make a bad impression, and then they hesitate before contacting a professor if they do have questions or are confused about something. Please don't wait if you have questions or concerns. Connect early so that you have ample time to act on any new information or clarification that you receive. When you are communicating with your professor, consider their preferred mode of communication. Do they prefer email or Zoom or Microsoft Teams or telephone or text? Whatever they prefer, if they have a preference, it's typically specified in the course syllabus. For significant concerns, you do want to schedule an appointment. Complex issues, frustrations, difficulties, those are not well suited for email. If you are scheduling an appointment, strive to connect during office hours. Another important piece of information you should be able to locate in the course syllabus. If their established office hours won't work for you, then send an email politely to request an appointment, being specific about the need. Include your availability so that you can avoid a bunch of back and forth delay of emails trying to schedule a convenient time. Arrive prepared for that appointment. Have your questions and information at hand, whether it's a Zoom, phone, or a face-to-face meeting. And while you meet, be respectful of time. If you scheduled a 30-minute meeting and you need more time, request a follow-up meeting if needed. When emailing your professor, contemplate that question that you have. As much as I want to encourage you to reach out to your professors if you have questions, concerns, and need clarification, always do take the time to review assignment guidelines, the course syllabus, the Canvas course. See if the answers to your question are already available to you. So do check before emailing. If you can't find the information, it isn't readily available, don't hesitate to reach out. But also just a gentle reminder, if you're frustrated or upset about something, if it's a complex issue, email is not the appropriate venue. You need to set up a specific appointment and use email, a polite and professional email, to request that appointment. Always use NKU email or the Canvas messaging system to communicate with your professor so that it is an official means of communication. Always include a specific subject line in the message so they know which course you're a part of and they can relate to you quickly and more completely wherever they're responding to you from, whether it might be their phone or their office computer. They'll have the detail they need to be able to put your question and your concern into context quickly if you have a specific subject line. Also be polite and professional with your opening. No hey you or hey professor, but a proper and appropriate professional opening to the message. Now, if your professor says you can call me Dr. D, then it's fine to say, hello, Dr. D. I have a question about assignment number 1 and move forward. But be professional. Have that professional greeting. Identify yourself, the purpose of your message, being very clear and specific, and again, maintaining a professional tone. Proofread and correct it before you send, and conclude with an appropriate closing and signature, thank you, or sincerely, and your full name. Now, as you await your response, you're going to want to be realistic in your expectations. Be aware of the day and the time that you sent the message, and give your professors at least 24 hours before you follow up, wondering why they haven't yet responded. Keep in mind, too, that responses are going to probably come during normal business hours, and you want to keep that in mind if you email over the weekend, late at night, or during a holiday. If you message your professor using a mechanism other than email, such as Microsoft Teams or any text-based messaging or apps, the same email and Netiquette rules apply, so keep those in mind, whatever format you're using to communicate. And finally, one other point that I want to review is the importance of how to request a letter of recommendation. In addition to these typical course and academic-related communications that you'll have with your professors, you may need to request a letter of recommendation from a professor or other university staff in regards to awards or scholarship opportunities, graduate studies applications, or even employment. And if so, it's very important to be professional in that communication as well and respectful in the process. Don't wait until the week your application is due to request that letter of recommendation. Plan ahead, know and communicate the date you need the letter. Provide your contact with plenty of time to integrate the request into their existing obligations. Provide any detail that they might possibly need, including relevant accomplishments, skills, etc., that might help them write the most comprehensive and effective recommendation letter. Refresh their memory about you, any classes that you've taken with them, any project work you did with them, any special events you attended with them, and provide a resume if at all possible. You might even want to schedule a meeting or a phone call to discuss your goals and objectives and the purpose of the recommendation. Remember, the more information that you provide them, the better job they'll be able to do in completing the letter of recommendation for you. Well, that's a lot of information covered in a very short period of time. I hope that you find it helpful and you'll keep it in mind as you communicate with your classmates and your professors and university staff during your academic journey. Take care.